Right now on the National Weather Desk, weather alert. A major winter storm bringing all kinds of weather just in time for Christmas.
It could be a very busy and difficult week of travel for so many.
Even while thousands are still without power from the last storm.
Events like this takes time.
Are your tires safe to be on the road?
Now they recommend using a quarter to see if the tread touches George Washington's head.
The connection between the weather and your health.
Especially with extremely cold temperatures, comes a danger of additional heart-related deaths.
Why you can't always trust the weather forecast on your phone.
Those factory weather apps are like those darts being thrown out way back here. They're just throwing out data to you.
And we'll take to the skies over North Carolina.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Weather is going to be a major factor as we start one of the busiest travel weeks of the year. A winter storm will impact a large portion of the country, bringing bitter cold, heavy snow, rain, and powerful winds. Meteorologist Christina Ernie is tracking the storm in Providence, Rhode Island.
Good morning. It could be a very busy and difficult week of travel for so many. We have deep cold building in to the central portion of the country, especially into the northern and Great Plains. Deep cold will be pushing in, giving high temperatures in the teens, single digits, and even sub-zero. Areas like Minneapolis to Rapid City only seeing highs in the low single digits to near zero. Areas like Omaha, Nebraska seeing highs -0. And in those areas, wind chill advisories and winter storm advisories already in effect. The low that originates from that system will also be producing a whole lot of snow, and what will be bringing windy and rainy conditions to the northeast by the end of the week will also be producing some significant snowfall. In fact, we could see blizzard-like conditions in areas like Chicago, Illinois, into Iowa and Wisconsin with 1 to 2 feet of snow, and areas into New York and Pennsylvania more than a foot. For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Christina Ernie.
And if you're hoping for a white Christmas, you may actually get your wish. This map shows the predicted snowfall for Christmas Day. The pink and blue areas range from about 3 inches up to a foot or more. But look how far south the gray areas actually go. Look over here. That means folks in Tennessee, Arkansas, and Oklahoma can expect an inch or so on the ground. If you live where the map is white, your odds of having a white Christmas are pretty small. But folks in Maine are not concerned about a white Christmas. They just want the lights back on. Last Friday, winter knocked out power to more than 100,000 customers across the state. Now, we just checked in, and more than 25,000 people are still sitting in the dark this morning. Central Maine Power says it's more than tripled its crews to get the lights back on as quickly as possible.
I hope that everyone understands that events like this takes time, but we are doing everything we can in order to get everybody's power back.
I mean, some people have gone and got motel rooms and stuff like that, and some people are leaving almost all day. Then they come back at night.
And there's another downside here.
Blankets and stuff.
There's another downside here. That big winter storm will bring strong winds to Maine this weekend, meaning power could once again be an issue. Possibly we're talking for Christmas Day. The snow is still very much an issue in Buffalo. The lake effect snow warning canceled this morning, but not before dumping more than 20 inches of snow in some communities along Lake Erie. Look at your screen. Another few inches are expected today. A lake effect warning remains in effect for areas north of Syracuse, east of Lake Ontario, and all of western and central New York could get heavy snowfall this weekend. Now, we are watching the storm while tracking areas of low pressure that will help determine if you get rain, snow, or even a mixture of both. Let's go to Providence, Rhode Island, where meteorologist Anthony McCary explains.
Areas of low pressure at their purest form, they are a cyclone and they rotate counterclockwise. So because of this, see the arrows working around it. On the right-hand side of the storm, the wind comes from the south. On the left-hand side, it generally comes from the north. So the cooler side is on the left, warmer side is on the right, and the green indicates where there would be rain and blue for snow. So depending on the position of low pressure, that generally determines what type of precipitation we could see and for how long. If low pressure in New England stays south of Nantucket or off toward the east, that usually means there's enough cold air for snow for for the entirety of an event. That would be a classic nor'easter here. However, something that we could potentially see later this week is when an area of low pressure moves up the mid-Atlantic and over New England. We also had this just a couple of days ago. That means there's enough cold air initially for some snow to start before quickly changing over to just some areas of rain and maybe ending as a period of light snow. And the final type, of course, is when low pressure is so far off to the west over the Great Lakes. The wind is from the south for nearly all the time, and that would be just a pure rain type of a situation. But this far out, the storm hasn't even developed yet. That's why we have to watch closely the trends over the next couple of days.
And here's something to keep in mind before heading out on snowy roads. It's always a good idea to make sure your tire tread is still good to go. Meteorologist Kristen Clark is showing us from Seattle how a worn out tread makes it hard to stop in an emergency.
A La Nina winter has so far delivered a surplus of snow in the Cascade Mountains of Washington state. As a result, Washington state has seen road conditions change drastically in just a matter of miles this year. In early December, Snoqualmie Pass had one of the top 5 snowiest starts to winter with over 120 inches of snow. So it's critical that car tires can handle the snow. Seattle-based reporter Lee Stoll explains.
The state law has been on the books in Washington for decades. A specific citation for not maintaining your vehicle, especially the tires. They can be considered unsafe if there's a bump or not affecting its structure, or if the tread depth is less than 2/32 of an inch. The old way to test your tires was to put a penny in the tread. If you could still see Abe Lincoln's head, it might be time to get new ones. But AAA updated that test. Now they recommend using a quarter to see if the tread touches George Washington's head. We talked to WashDOT about having good equipment, especially in the passes. They told us they've closed the road for about 30 hours this season, mostly due to driving behavior, like going too fast or having bad equipment. And most of the drive is remote.
Could take some time to get to you in that event. So all the more reason to really pay attention to conditions and slow down.
You know, many of you may check a weather app before heading out, but can you trust it? Because that forecast may not be from a meteorologist. Kathy Morgan is in Nashville to explain who you should trust online.
Do not trust those what I call factory weather apps, the ones that come on your phone, and even some of those ones that you can download. Really, a local meteorologist or a local television app is going to be your best source for information. I did a little experiment today, and this was just over a couple hours time from the factory app that's on your phone when you get your phone here. This is looking at next Thursday to the 22nd for the potential of snow here. And this takes a look at 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 4 p.m. Notice the chances for snow on Thursday go from 50 to 40 to 30. They are changing constantly throughout the day. This is raw data that is just being thrown at you. There's no human aspect to this. It's not being massaged or really taking an in-depth look at certain models. It's just completely computer data that's being thrown at you. So they're really difficult to trust, especially when we're talking about weather this far out. So I thought we'd play some darts here, and I thought about doing this in studio, but there are other human beings in the studio, and I do not trust my aim. So we're going to take a look here. This gives you an idea of how winter weather forecasting is hard to really come up with, especially when we're 7+ days out. Think about it like this. We're this far back from the dartboard. I'm going to throw my darts, and notice how far apart those darts are. The farther away you are from the dartboard, more likely that you're not going to be very accurate. So you're forecasting, or you're throwing these darts farther out from the intended date. The accuracy is going to be a lot lower. Now think about 2 to 3 days out. We're going to move closer to the dartboard because now we're closer to that time frame, and we throw those darts. Our accuracy is going to be a lot better because we have more information in our hands. Again, those factory weather apps are like those darts being thrown out way back here. They're just throwing out data to you.
Well, have you ever heard of or seen light pillars like this right here? Well, this is what it looks like up close. These photos were captured at Cedar Rapids, Iowa on Saturday. The phenomenon, it's rare. It's beautiful. As you can see, light pillars form when light is reflected through ice crystals. The light pillars you see here were formed by snow that was being blown around in the sky by heavy winds. And coming up right here on the National Weather Desk, we take a look at how the weather can impact your heart. And would you know how to survive an avalanche? This is a big thing. We'll talk with an expert about what you should know. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Temperatures starting off generally in the 30s, some 20s north and west. I think during the afternoon we only get into the 40s, and it looks like that's generally going to be in consequence of fair weather high pressure, but it's a chilly one with sunshine, but really kind of ineffective sunshine as temperatures, again, only rise into the 40s at best. And it looks like things get more active later in the week. That's seen here.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Michael Arenberg, and here's a look at your Southeast regional forecast as we go through the day. Lots of sunshine along the East Coast there and through much of Florida. Low pressure area will get going with rain moving from Texas into Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama during the late afternoon and on into the evening hours. High temperatures, a wide range, 40s over the northern Gulf Coast states in Tennessee and North Carolina, 50s through South Carolina, Georgia. We're looking at 60s and 70s for North and then South Florida.
And welcome back, everyone. Now let's check to see the weather in cities across the country today. We'll start right here in Washington, D.C., where it's pretty cold. Sunshine with a few afternoon clouds with a high of 41 degrees. And now let's take a look at Syracuse, New York, where snow is likely and the high is only expected to be 32 degrees there. Next, we are traveling to Cadillac, Michigan, where skies are overcast and it's going to be cold today in Cadillac with a high of only 25 degrees. And let's end things right in Nederland, Texas, where rain and thunderstorms are possible. But at least it's at least a bit warmer here we're talking about a high of 51 degrees. NORAD, switching gears, has been tracking Santa on his journey around the globe every Christmas for 67 years. Our Emily Gracie recently spoke to NORAD about the interesting way this whole thing all got started.
So it's all started in 1955 when a little kid called the NORAD HQ in Colorado Springs. And what happened is the colonel picked up the phone and the kids start talking about Santa. At the time, the colonel didn't understand what was going on. But what was happening is during that time, a local store in Colorado had a flyer saying, hey, call Santa at this number or come visit us at the store. And the kid called the number, but the problem is there was a typo in the number. And instead of being the store number, it was the NORAD. And the colonel played along with the kid. Was like, oh, this is fun. Yes, I'm Santa, answering his question, playing along. So that was good. But the thing is, it didn't stop there. Other kids started calling the colonel. And this is how it kind of started. And of course, it evolved through the years. And now we have this big website. We're tracking Santa live.
How does NORAD track Santa?
So NORAD has a lot of tools to track Santa. The first one is our warning system. So it's like radars and satellites that are tracking all the airspace of Canada and the United States. When Santa will enter our airspace on the 24th, before he goes into his journey through Canada and the United States, we'll be able to track him when he enters. And then what we'll do is confirm his presence by sending CF-18s, and they will go and they will escort Santa through his journey through Canada and will help him distribute gifts.
So what's he doing right now? You don't start tracking him until the 24th, right?
Exactly. So we know Santa is still in the North Pole, but if we look at previous data that we had from previous year, we know that he's leaving the North Pole on the 24th around 6 a.m. If you go on the website, which is noradsanta.org, you will be able to see where he is live on the 24th. And same thing if you call the number, which is 1-877-I-NORAD. And kids or even parents can ask, where is Santa right now? And either the person on the other end of the phone or the website will be able to tell you live where he is.
And Emily also spoke with Captain Cliche about what NORAD does the rest of the year. For that longer interview, as well as the website and phone number for NORAD, and so you can track Santa at home this Christmas, log on to YouTube and search the National Weather Desk. Now, as we head into the colder months, cardiologists are asking you to pay close attention to your heart. As medical reporter Liz Bonus explains from Cincinnati, it has everything to do with the weather.
Hey there, everybody. A warning today from cardiologists about temperature extremes. New study shows these swings are not only dangerous to the heart, they could potentially seriously raise your risk of a heart attack. Well, it's mild and rainy in parts of the Midwest, much of the country getting set up for a major winter storm.
We've got a lot of snow coming through. I mean, we've seen reports anywhere from 24 inches, over 36 inches. It's going to be a big one.
And with the big one, especially with extremely cold temperatures, comes a danger of additional heart-related deaths. Cardiologists tell us in the aftermath of COVID-19 and delayed heart care especially.
I think a lot of primary care visits have gone missed. People's blood pressures, people's diabetes care have maybe gone to the wayside.
Adding additional stressors, even extreme temperatures, hot or cold, may be too much for the heart to handle. This study, published in the American Heart Association's journal Circulation, found extreme temperatures are responsible for an additional 11 heart-related deaths among those with heart disease for every 1,000 heart incidents. To reduce the odds, see your primary care doctor. Let them check your heart. If something is off, have them refer you to a cardiologist.
So when we see these people oftentimes in the cardiology office, we know we want to figure out what their individual risk is.
This study found extreme temperatures increase the risk of death in those who've had previous stroke, blocked arteries, and heart rhythm disturbances. Researchers say those with heart failure are at the highest risk for these negative effects compared to those with other types of heart problems. I'm medical reporter Liz Bonus.
Well, last week, rescue crews in Utah saved a skier who was buried deep in snow following an avalanche. This morning, a backcountry skiing guide is talking about her one and only avalanche rescue and tips on survival. Reporter Brian Mullaney from our station in Salt Lake City, Utah, has her story.
Here goes. Power when the snow breaks.
The second person down triggered the avalanche.
Winslow Passy was there last March when it happened between Big and Little Cottonwood Canyons.
And then I yelled for the third person, and they didn't answer. Once I'm this close, I'm doing a grid search.
The buried skier had his avalanche transceiver on send. 7 women, including Passy, switched theirs to search.
Picked up a signal pretty much right away. So then you would start probing directly in the center of your box.
And the probe hit what?
So we didn't know what we hit, but we hit his ski boot.
Time short.
We dug and dug and dug.
Shoveling side in, not top down.
It took us about 23 minutes to get to his airway. A couple of the girls basically held his head out of the snow while we continued to dig to try and get the rest of his body out.
Everybody in your party has to have a transceiver.
Chad Bracklesburg Avalanche Center shows the transceiver, the probe, the shovel, even an airbag to keep skiers above a slide.
Life-saving equipment, so it's super critical.
There was a lot of things I ended up using in my pack that day.
But the 20-year guide for skiing and climbing, including Everest, Winslow Passy, had never had a day like this.
After it was done, as you reflect on it now, what are your thoughts?
Oh, man, lots of takeaways.
Well, the gift-giving season is underway, and if you're looking for something for the kids in your life who simply love the weather, our meteorologist has some great tips. Christina Earn is in Rhode Island with a few ideas for kids of all ages.
I'm back with another gift-giving guide for all of the weather lovers in your life, this time kids edition by age group. Let's start with infants. These adorable mobiles can be hung above their cribs. How cute are these little rainbows, clouds, and suns? Next up, toddlers can get a sense of seasons and develop an interest in weather with these kinds of wooden puzzles. They can start to recognize features like rain, sun, and falling leaves. Single-digit kids may enjoy the Storm Chasers game. It's a fast-paced game for the whole family. One team is the storm while the other is trying to figure out how to outrun the storm and keep the community safe. Now, this one is a great buy for preteens. It's a book all about storm chasing, written about a real-life storm chaser. And finally, for some older teens, perhaps they're on track to make weather a passion. A subscription to the American Meteorological Society's digital magazine, BAMS, is the gift that keeps on giving.
And as we head to break, let's take to the skies over Mars Hills, North Carolina.
Good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael taking a look at your weather story across the Midwest today. We got some snow showers kind of working their way through as we take a look here at your Tuesday. Pretty quiet weather for most of the Midwest. It's going to be very cold, though. A high of 8 below zero in Bismarck there on Wednesday, even colder on Tuesday and Wednesday for us. Notice those snow showers starting to kick up on Wednesday. That continues down towards the Ohio Valley and the lower Great Lakes Thursday into Friday.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look at our forecast across the region. We'll be starting off wet across a good portion of Texas this morning. Scattered showers from Dallas down to the coast. This pushes off to the east this afternoon. Some strong storms in Louisiana. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s. Sunshine from Abilene to El Paso to Amarillo with temperatures in the 40s, 50s, right around 60 degrees for Abilene. Have a great Monday.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. We have cold air continuing to stream inland from Canada, dropping temperatures across the high plains anywhere from 20 to 35 degrees below normal. Now, high elevation snow continues in the northwest, and we'll continue to see cold air up in the higher elevations with drier weather to the southwest. That's the scene from here.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A view of Friday's SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launch. Meteorologist Ed Piotrowski says even though it was pretty dark at launch time, the exhaust plume is so vibrant due to the rocket's altitude. It was between 40 and 50 miles high. That's where the sun was still out and able to illuminate the plume. Piotrowski says to him, it looks like a cosmic squid.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Well, we love showcasing the trove of content from our team of 200 meteorologists across the country. But now it's time to show off some of your content that we see on Chime In. Let's start with this sunrise in Mountain City, Tennessee. It kind of looks like the sun is smoldering beneath the clouds. Gorgeous. Now to Oregon and the view of Cathedral Rock as seen on the way from the city of John Day. And we'll wrap up with happy Hanukkah wishes from Pumpkin, the cat who lives in Maine. Now, we would love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Just search at Nat WS Desk or the National Desk. and we will be right back. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll take a look at snow levels across the country. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Monday, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.